subject is? Mathematics, right? This one. Good job. Now her hobby, she really loves to ride horses. That's her thing. She loves to do that any chance she gets. Favorite food? Tacos. That surprised me, but tacos. I asked her what the craziest food she's ever eaten was, and she said a sauce dip for chips that just is a whole bunch of different sauces. That could be kind of crazy. I would agree with that. Favorite color is blue. Now I'm going to make you speak here in a second. You ready for this? I asked her what her favorite movie was, and she said Spirit Riding Free. These kids know these movies. I've never heard of any of them. So you tell them what it's about. Just a quick, what is it about?
It's that girl that has to talk and he won't let anyone else ride him that stuff. And then they become best friends.
Oh, there you go. Sounds like a good movie. All right. And then so I asked her what she liked to do, like athletically and all that, and she says she loves gymnastics. She likes gymnastics, so that's good. Good. I asked her what she liked best about Bloomfield, and she says it's just not a real busy town.
I like that.
So she enjoys the small town and really likes the school a lot. That's what she said. So I always finish with a quote from the Student of the Month teachers, and Mrs. Fish says that she is an excellent student who is always friendly to everyone. She's always helpful, and she's just overall a wonderful kid. I would agree. Nova Fisher, everybody. This is good. All right, you give that to you, and we're going to step over here and take pictures. I brought my phone. Go ahead. If you want to go get a picture, go ahead. I can go. Just sit right there in front of the apartment. You want to go back down? Smile.
Mom's getting one, Mr. Riggle.
Oh, here you're in her way. That one over here, you can take it out. You trying to get one?
I did, but I'll get it.
I'll buy it for you.
Yeah,
You're giving me a hard time.
yeah.
I believe that. I believe that. Come on, kiddo. All right.
Thank you. And we're gonna go ahead and exit.
What, miss all
Have a good
Yes,
night.
yes, thank you.
All right, and that will do the high school.
Yeah. Let's see where the light, I was trying to see where to do the light. We got two cameras here.
No, it was still, it's not
This
too
here's
loud.
the one to look at. Okay.
All right. In case you
Come
burn
on
them
up
out.
here, Boone. Come on up here. Got a couple things here. So, of course, we had two students of the month, seventh grade and freshman. And our first seventh grader is not here today. That would be Titus Lehman. He is playing basketball down in North Knox, so we'll bring Titus back in December and do that. But our freshman student of the month is Mr. Boone Holtzclaw, right here. And Boone was kind enough to answer some questions for me. Rather quickly, but handled it. It's probably pretty easy. Boone's favorite food? Steaks. Okay, this is something even I go back on all the time. How do you have your steak cooked? That's exactly what I eat.
Not overcooked, not raw.
That's right, there you go. Okay. What clubs, teams, programs, groups are you involved with at Bloomfield Junior Senior High School? Boone's involved in tennis, baseball, FFA, high school beta, and student council. Being a freshman and getting started, that's a pretty good group to get going with right there. I asked him what his hobbies are and his likes. In my free time, I enjoy hunting as well as fishing. I just also enjoy just being in nature. And what is your favorite subject?
Math.
Math. Right there.
Attaboy.
Yeah. And what? And are we in geometry? No.
What is wrong with
Okay,
today?
algebra 2. That's right. Algebra 2 already. Yeah, because he's up, so he'll be taking pre-cal next year. And what are we gonna do your senior year?
Well,
Split the
hopefully
atom.
some advanced.
Maybe a little calculus. Well, you could. Now we've got calculus and finite. Could do that. So definitely, we'll have something for you when you get there. Now, I want to read this. On Boone Holtzclaw, Coach Knuckley wanted me to read this. Coach Knuck says, Boone is a hard worker, gets along with all students, bump, fist bump, whatever. We got all that. I'm just tickled I can take a picture. All right, come on over here, Jessica, you want, hey, you want, why don't you jump in there first?
Well, I appreciate that.
You go right ahead, do what you want.
Nice to meet you.
Isn't it?
And it's spelled correctly.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's
It's
not,
one of
we're not
many
done
things
yet,
to
because
get
that's
better
not, we
than.
want the original frame.
No, I thought that was.
Okay, man. Got one more. This one's going out to Twitter first. Okay. Ready? All right, congratulations.
So we probably will head out too, but I know Jared and I would like to publicly say how impressed we are with Bloomfield District. He's been here since kindergarten. He's had excellent opportunities, advanced in math and English this year. And with all the virtual, he's not missed a beat. So that's contributing to you, Mr. Dean, and support of his teachers. No, I really appreciate it. So working as a parent, I come home and he knows what he needs to do. So thank you very much.
It was all my idea.
Thanks for,
I'll see you.
good job. Congratulations.
All right, see you guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Congratulations.
Thank
you.
Okay, we'll continue with the recognitions. You want to do the elementary?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll jump out here. I got a little something for you here on our recognition. So this is our first elementary newspaper in a sense. I just kind of printed it off. It's really digital.
Mike, tell me, what is the pretzel?
What is the pretzel? You talking about when they put their head? I am not going to
Did you
demonstrate
see,
that.
no,
You have to tell
I
me.
read the last, Jessica Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Did you know that Mrs. Lauderdale can do the pretzel behind her head?
Mrs. Lauderdale says not anymore.
Is that what that
So
is?
it's like her feet back here.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
That's painful even to think about.
I will not be trying that,
Yeah.
just so you know. But I wanted to pass those out to you. I didn't know if you've seen them or not. It is digital, and this is the first one they put out.
The kids
The
about
kids run it, so
Thanksgiving.
it's the fifth graders and Mrs. Patterson. Fifth graders and Mrs. Patterson, and they are, they're really enjoying it.
That was funny.
So just kind of a shout out to them. You can tell it's definitely an elementary newspaper. But it's run by them, so it's stuff that they enjoy. So I wanted to mention that. I also wanted to mention Mrs. Medina leading the Rally for Riley Parade and got some donations and took some basically some presents to some kids that really needed to pick me up and some families. And it was a really great thing what she did there. So our custodial staff, like to thank them and Matt Bales for everything they're doing. Nurse Renee is just killing it. I mean, she's just working overtime all the time, and we're proud of her. So she even takes the grief that we give her every time she tells us she's got to quarantine somebody and check her head. You know, so she does well with it.
Bearer of bad news.
Bearer of bad news. So, and then the last thing I have is just kind of some more of our character traits. This month was trustworthiness. Winners that we had for our drawings, and our bucket was full this month. So the kids are really grabbing a hold of it. But a few winners that we've had to this point this month is Owen Michael, Dixie Hudson, Finley Axum, Nevaeh Watts, Aiden Graves, and Noah Mullis. And again, we bring them all in the halls, we try to make it a big deal. And if their name is called, they got to take the lap, the victory lap, and they go all the way down, all the way back. And we give them a prize and take a picture and just make a big deal out of it. Just reinforcing positive behavior. That's what we're after there. So that's all that I had on my recognitions, but I just wanted to share that with you. I think the kids are doing a great job. They're already getting geared up for December. So they've been in my office asking, can I do this, can I do that? Have that. So, all right. I'll turn it over to Steve.
All right, then. Gonna be pretty quick tonight, it's been a short month, days-wise since we're here on the 19th, but got a lot of volleyball recognitions. Of course, certainly, you can nominate four. And all four of our nominations, made the team: Kylie Shelton, Gracie Lowry, Malia Ramsey, and Brooklyn Brewer. Want to recognize, certainly the basketball seasons have gotten underway. Our junior high boys and girls have had games already. Girls junior high were a little thin. We've got basically a 7th grade team. We have one 8th grader, and they were playing Lagodi night. It was 15-14 when I came down there in the 4th quarter. Boys junior high team, they're at North Knox. Girls varsity basketball's already got a couple games underneath the belt this year, and boys basketball has been in practice 2 weeks, and they had their first scrimmage tomorrow night with Forest Park. So that's getting rolling, and we'll certainly just adjust and handle any bumps in the road that we get as we go along that way. And then I want to recognize my new tech teachers. The past 2 weeks, actually the past 2 Mondays, the 9th and the 16th, they've had training with our new tech coach. And of course, with COVID and everything that goes along with that, as far as how to run a school, nothing's been in person. It's been all virtual. As many things are, we all know. And that's not the best alternative, but that's the alternative we have right now. And they've done a very good job of really just embracing and working together, collaborating, and taking all that. The first Monday, the 9th of November, we had focus groups. So they had a 6th grade focus group and then a 7-8 focus group. And it was really good to get honest, genuine feedback. And I sat in on the 7-8, and it was interesting, because once they got going, man, they got going. It just opened up. It was hard to get to get started, but once they started answering questions and giving feedback and input, kids really had quite a bit to say. And then this last Monday, the teachers were putting together the projects, their first project to get started with the PBL second semester. So on top of teaching in traditional in-person, teaching remote, and having virtual, these teachers are taking on the new tech and implementing that, and that's quite good. And I really appreciate their efforts as they've gone through. And also to reiterate what Mike said, everybody else in the building, custodians, maintenance, nurse Renee, staff, everybody's just done a great job. 3.5 weeks will be a lot of discussion. And I think that's awesome, that we're able to get that and continue to move forward. So,
First one I got. All right, thank you. All right, next agenda item is our consent agenda.
Yes, on the consent agenda, we have our regular minutes from the October 29th board meeting. Regular session there, and we got to approve those. We have the treasurer's report. Oh, we have a special board meeting November 5th. Well, I was looking at the wrong line there, sorry. Treasurer's report, as we do every month. The appropriation, bank statements, fund report, claims. Personnel, you received the hires for homebound instruction, our elementary secretary, and the resignation there. And then we have a donation. We want to thank Women of Work, the Greene County Foundation, for a $750 donation to our elementary playground. So thank you for that donation. And those are our consent agendas. Asking for approval for those.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I will recommend approval.
Second, Rich. Do I have a second? Katie? All in favor? Thank you. Other business. 4A is elementary school improvement plan.
All right. amongst the staff, which is really awesome, because let's face it, if you want your phone to get fixed, you hand it to a 5-year-old and they'll fix it for you, right? So they're better at it than we are. We gotta get caught up, you know, so that we can guide them in the right direction. So, you know, this whole COVID thing has really kind of pushed that into play. A little quicker than I think we really wanted to go, but it's gonna be all right. So, that's basically it. Those are our goals. I didn't want to take up a lot of time on that, but I'll be more than happy to talk to you guys if you have any questions and what we're doing.
Thank you. All right, now, let's go, here, the senior high school.
Okay, I just want to state, for the record, that having the board meeting back in the boardroom is completely thrown me off tonight. Because I had everything set up, so I just put it on the podium.
No.
Move everything else. I was on that, but kind of following on Mike, I just want to give you guys an idea. This, in years past, we went through an accreditation process with North Central, Advanced Ed, used to be North Central, and it was Advanced Ed. And in the past half a dozen years, we started to look at what we were doing, and Advanced Ed is a I mean, it's a pay, you pay for the program, basically, what they have. And they come in and they do an on-site visit, and it's something we've done a lot. But we decided to go, you can either do that through a group like Advanced Ed, or just go through the DOE and submit that. And then the DOE, so if you look at our plans, they have a outline of what you need to have in your school improvement. And so for the past 4 years, we've gone through and had our school improvement plan through the Department of Ed. We have to submit it every September and get that in there. So just kind of give you a little bit of background information on that. We made that switch about 4 years ago to do that. There's no cost involved that we want. And you know, still, it's the school improvement plan is something that's an active document. It's what we're working on all the time.
And as far as it just has to have the school administrator and the Bloomfield Teacher Association president sign and submit it under STN account. They both have done that, September 30th or something.
Something like that.
October 15th or something like that. Yeah.
We made the deadline, we know that.
Yeah, they have these submitted, but we thought it's good that they're sharing with the board.
Yes, absolutely. And, but I just kind of want to give you a little background on where this came from. Our school improvement plan committee is made up of myself, Christy Bladen, our media specialist, teachers Ashley Dunkley, Julie Evans, school counselor Ms. Fagan, Christina Fagan, and we have parent registrar here with Mrs. That we can copy that too. So when you've had a chance to look at this, you see it's basically, we're following an outline format of the staff, basically giving a synopsis of what our community is like, what we have in that, our community and our school as far as faculty members, what all we have. You know, for example, you know, we have in our plan 37 staff members, 10 instructional aides, 3 office secretaries. We have our graduation and career coach. We have our college connections coach. We have our 21st century learning director, on-site supervisors that have added to that. So, you know, what role does Bloomfield Junior Senior High School play, not only in the school community, but in the community itself? We have demographics that are, you know, you're looking at socioeconomic parts, you're looking at you know, professional development, what is involved in there, you know, ethnicity and so forth, what we have. The safe school learning environment, that is a component for the Department of Education. Of course, you know, we realize we have our school resource officers, and they are a part of that. And then, as Mike mentioned, the goals. There's no number required for the amount of goals that you have in the school improvement plan. They call it the action plan. Our action plan has morphed over the years, and with the change in the state of Indiana going towards college career readiness, career technical ed, and pathways, our sophomores, their cohort of 2023 will be the first cohort that has just the pathways as their graduation requirement. If some of you have older students, well, that are juniors or seniors or have graduated, then you know that it was the ISTEP, it was a graduation qualifying exam, and that was a graduation qualifying. So our goal, our action plan is generated on a pathway. made sense. You know, the state has given us a moving target over the years. You know, and not just Bloomfield, several schools around the state had it down. You know, we had acuity, we were able to progress monitor with that assessment, and get an idea, it was predictive, and get an idea of where we would be at. Our teachers could drill in on those, you know, they could look at, through the data, has it been taught? If it hasn't, we need to teach it. Do we need to reteach it, or are we good and going? And just in the last half dozen years, you know, that's kind of changed. But ClearSight, formerly Airways, you know, they create the IO test. And so as Mike mentioned, we have, like on our end of the building, we have an assessment window coming up after Thanksgiving, where all 7th and 8th graders will assess through the ClearSight and get an idea of all the different types of questions, the content material. It is based on knowledge content. So number one, it's not the same. Number two, depending on how they answer the question will be how the next question is assimilated out. Then we do benchmarks, and Mike talked about that, and that is getting those questions out in front of the students daily. You know, as a bell ringer at the start of class, you know, Monday through Thursday, getting different looks at that, and then on Friday doing an assessment, a mini quiz of what we have. Then we will follow back up in late February, early March with our second interim test to get an idea what growth do we have, and kind of what I mentioned to you before. If we struggle with that, have we taught it yet? If we haven't taught it, we need to do that. Number two, if we've taught it, we need to reteach it, cover the gaps. And then three, if it's, as I use the phrase, in the green, we're good to go. So that goes along with that. Graduation rate, that's always been a strong suit of Bloomfield. A lot of schools are the same way, but that's also data we get. We offer the SAT, PSAT to our students, and you can see all down along the line there. You notice the ASVAB's in there. The ASVAB is one of the 8 components that a student can get bucket 3 of the pathways. So bucket 1 is the diploma. Bucket 2 is either service-based, project-based, or work-based learning. And bucket 3, like I said, is either things. An honors diploma, academic or technical, SAT or ACT score benchmarks, 6 dual credits in a CTE pathway, scoring at 31 or higher on the ASVAB. These are all components that they can use. I know I didn't name 8 there, but I'll get one. But either way, you get the idea that they have that. So we have put it into our plans that each year we will provide the ASVAB, which we've done in years past, to all seniors. You know, we're trying to get as many opportunities for them to get these bucket points for their pathway. Now, what's troubling with COVID is scheduling the ASVAB. Number one, they're overwhelmed like everybody. So they've not been quick to get back with us when we get that schedule. As I mentioned last meeting, we just finished with our juniors taking the PSAT. Sophomores will take the PSAT in January. Juniors will take the SAT at school day. By the way, this is all free of charge to the students. They will take the SAT at school day in March, first week of March. So that's something that we've done a better part of not quite 10 years. And now the state is requiring that for that class of cohort of 2023, that SAT or ACT will be their assessment that we have. The ISTEP goes away with the junior class. Kind of moving on down, our curriculum, as many we talked about, you know, follow the Indiana Academic Standards for College and Career Readiness. We have a very robust curriculum. I think for size per size, and per capita what we have in our building, we offer a very robust curriculum for our students. And that means if it's CPE or if it's early college, you name it, we offer it to them. And I'm very proud of that. And I'll get into the pathways a little bit more specifically what we offer here in the building. The implementation plan, again, the professional development and coordination of technology. You know, we've been one-to-one for 2 years now, 7 through 12 Chromebooks. There is a cultural competency that the state wants
both talked about the Airways formative assessment program that we have, and I just was in the classroom with Mr. Raker today, and he was going through one of the questions on that. And for a sixth grade question on reading comprehension, they read a passage and the questions that were asked, it is high level. They have, the state has greatly increased, and we can argue that's good or bad, I don't know, but the rigor on the I-Learn test and what high schoolers, the math tests that high schoolers have had to take in the past, it's not easy. So you've got to have something, questions or a program, and that's paid by the formative assessment grant, by the way. And our alternative education, Plato, is paid by the alternative education grant, so that there's opportunities to get that paid for by the state, which is nice. We apply for the grants, we've gotten those. You know, to have the questions that are like the test are invaluable, or very valuable to the kids. So, just want to reiterate that.
All right, thank you. Next agenda item, Ready Schools grant study.
Yeah, seeking board approval for continued work relating to the Ready Schools grant, asking for approval to pay Jenny Medina a $2,000 stipend each semester for the 2020 school year, and allowing her to use up to 4 professional leave days during the school year for her continued work and dedication to meet the requirements and expectations of the Ready Schools grant. The stipend will be paid from the Ready Schools grant. Examples of duties include continued correspondence, reporting to ROI, create marketing materials as directed, conduct surveys, keep records of targets and outcomes. She has helped start this originally, a huge grant for our school, a lot of opportunities for our school. I think she was half-time last year, still working with this. Now she's full-time in the classroom, but she has been very helpful to me, continues to be very helpful to meet these requirements. She knows it like the back of her hand. Even in a little bit, we're going to talk about our logo here. She's helped, develop that, and we developed our new mission and vision. And we are going to also advertise our new building project as well. And she's just really good at that design, promotion, and she's put a lot of extra time in. So we believe she is worthy of this. Asking for approval.
Okay, I have a recommendation, do I have a motion? Okay, do I have a second? Lina, all in favor? Thank you. Next agenda item, VSD vision, mission, and logo.
Yeah, so last month we spent some time, we have part of the Ready Schools grant, we had the early release on Friday, and we used it for collaboration time with the staff, based on surveys from the staff, was something that the teachers felt we needed to collaborate and work together. And periodically during that time, it's district discussion. So I've used that time to create, and again, part of the surveys of that grant was to collaborate, to create the own vision, mission, including everybody in that discussion. We took one of those Friday collaborations and created that, and felt like our logo should include what we came up with. So we're basically just adding, as I've sent it to you, the key words around that logo: engaging, educating, empowering everyone every day. We had the first reading of that last month, and was saying, hey, before we start printing it up and putting it on things, we want to make sure the board gives us the thumbs up on that.
What's the H for?
That's changed.
Okay, we have a recommendation, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. Oh, she beat me to it.
Katie, do I have a second? And Rich a second, all in favor? All right, and, agenda item, elementary secretary, position.
Yes, we approved the replacement of Cinda on that, and we are asking that she can start November 30th and get trained by Cinda here till the end of the semester, starting November 30th here after Thanksgiving. Just asking for that approval.
Yes.
Yeah, we approved her tonight.
Sarah Miller.
Yeah, we weren't sure, part of the reason this is on here is we weren't sure we're gonna have her by the time, but we did. So really now, since we approved her, really just approving she can project, I had asked if any board members wanted to be on the committee. Lana and Katie were able to attend our last meeting. We worked with the architects, and I believe that was very informative for you guys and helpful just to have the board's support as we're making tough decisions, having to, we can't do everything we want to do. It's too much money, but we're making decisions, and it's nice to have board members in there helping with those decisions. We had a work session Tuesday, and I felt like that was positive for all the board members, just as community asked questions. I know it's helped me, Mike and Dave and I, Mr. Bales. We have walked around the school many times after we talked to an architect. He's like, I'm having a hard time visualizing. To get up and to go to that spot and see it really makes a difference for me, and I hope that it did for you guys as well. And then, of course, I summarized it, same thing that I didn't see the article in the paper. I just did a pretty good summary of, I need to get that.
I don't think it was as elaborate as the second, we had a second email, I believe, asked about more detail, but it was good. That's good order.
And just detail for the community out there, if all goes well, we should be breaking ground on this project March or April, and if all goes well, it'll be done the end of the following school year. And so go to our website, district website. What's that?
Ribbon cutting.
Big day, ribbon cutting and all that. I do have, before we leave, I want to show you some posters that we're gonna, and postcards that we're gonna send out, just promotional, Bloomfield in general, but also the building project as well. I meant to bring this in.
When do you plan on sending those postcards?
Postcards will be sent in December.
But where?
Where is it sent? Well, hey, I will say
I would say
publicly.
send them outside of the community.
No, don't say that. But, I have called Trent Pro, if you look the way it's done, and Bob and Trent both agreed with me, Mr. Hacker and Trent Provo at Eastern Drain, I called them, because if you do the postal codes, and to get the best rate, there's no way to, if you wanna get everybody in Bloomfield, you're gonna leak into Eastern. If you wanna get everybody, that's on the east side, and on the west side, if you wanna get everybody in Bloomfield, you're gonna leak into White River Valley. If you don't hit those postal codes, you're not gonna get everybody in your district. But if you hit those postal codes, you're gonna get people in their district. And so Mr. Hack, I contacted them, they said, we understand that that happens to us, when they send ours. And it's about the first week I was on, I got, hey, WRV, send stuff to our district. And I knew that, because we had those issues back where I came from sometimes, I understood that, and so both of them said, yeah, we've done that to Bloomfield too, and we understand, no problem. I told them they're probably coming out early December. So I'm not trying to do this, we're just real understanding, we just kinda have to do it that way, and those postcards will come out in December. So, and most, I think it'll all be able to be covered by the Ready Schools grant, because there's a marketing portion of that grant.
That's a good idea.
That's nice too. Yep. Any questions? Any other things? All right. That's all I got.
Next agenda item is public comments regarding agenda items. Do we have any public comment?
I do want to recognize Ms. E.J. Priest, Bloomfield graduate.
Right.
And here in 2020, and she is, I think,
Yes. So I graduated Bloomfield with 38 credits on my transcript. So I got thrown into college as a sophomore. A crazy year, you guys, everybody knows. It's been absolutely crazy. But going into the sophomore, I had a class, and on the first day, she said you need 3 2-hour observations, a full day observation, and a school board observation. Figure it out. And a normal year, I feel like it would have been relatively doable, but now you can't get in anywhere. No schools are allowing visitors. All that. So I appreciate you guys funding me today and encourage.
Hey, I want to brag. I want to brag about EJ here just for a second. I happen to know that you are a drug addict, and there was a mother that had a daughter that was having to deal with that, and course, I think when they started school, you were still attending and you were the cheerleader and all that. And that little girl, it made so much of an impact to her to have you as a role model of, you know, to deal with this, because it was very, very traumatic for this little girl to get into that and understand that the changes it was going to, and how it was going to impact her life. And she had you there to look at it, and it really made a big impact on her. I want you to know that.